those huge African sunrises and sunsets, and they show like a big red or orange sun. It has to do with how you're seeing it through and what it's reflecting through. Because basically the way it works is, have you guys ever shined a light through a prism or had a prism hanging in your window?
Yeah.
That is taking white light and it is refracting or bending the light so that you can see all the different colors that make up white light. Mm-hmm. Basically, the horizon and the, not the horizon, I'm looking for the word. Basically, the Earth's atmosphere acts like a prism, so that as the sun is setting, it changes colors because it's sort of refracting the different colors of the white light as it goes through the horizon line. It's changing the angle that we see it at. So it can be different colors depending on your time of day. All right, then, and again, naturalism, we kind of visited the idea of motivated sources and the idea that the sun, the moon, the stars are kind of our big key sources. And then, are you sticking with this, or are you departing from that idea? Is the sun your source for the midday scene that you're lighting? Or are you saying, I don't care that the sun's there, we're doing something that's totally moody and has nothing to do with whether it's sunlit or not? So these are choices that you can make as a lighting designer and things that I want you to realize that you can either use or depart from for ideas. Composition. Basically, composition, kind of along with the idea we talked a little bit about visibility, is the idea of selective focus, like what you're looking at and what you're not looking at, trying to pull the attention to certain things on a set. Like, where do you want the audience to look? And it might be that that can be done with color. Like, maybe you have everything was lit, but everything's in like this cool blue, and you have an amber light on one thing. That composition can help draw your attention to that one single item on stage or that one area of the stage. So the way you compose your color, the way you compose your intensity and your visibility can make your composition either heavier on one side or equally balanced, but composition has to do with how you feel when you look at the stage, like what you're seeing and not seeing, but also how is it balanced. Is it asymmetrical? Is it symmetrical? Do you see the whole stage? Does it have a weight on one side or the other because of what you're doing with light? And that can help you draw the audience's attention. Modeling. When I say modeling, does anybody have an idea of what I might mean there? No guesses? Basically, modeling is the idea that you are emphasizing the three-dimensionality of a form. So if I have like a column, and I'm emphasizing that three-dimensionality of a column, I'm lighting it in such a way that I can probably see that that it's very round, and I've got one side that's edged out so that it pulls itself out, and the other side is shadowed, rather than lighting it straight from the front. Because if I light it just straight from the front, it can flatten out and seem like it's a two-dimensional object. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah. So the idea of modeling is the idea about pulling out that three-dimensional form and making it really seem lifelike and dimensional to the audience. This is especially true in dance. In dance, the reason we use side lighting so much is because we're doing the modeling on the form of the human body. We're trying to pull out that line of the side of their body so that it really shows, and that form shows, and that line shows. And we're trying to show that they're a dimensional being rather than just pushing flat front light at them, and again, they can just flatten out and seem not so dimensional. Okay? Mood is another one we talked about being very important. Down too far. So mood. And how are we making the audience feel? Do we want them to feel happy? Do we want them to feel sad? Do we want them to be scared? Mood is a huge objective. If you can help this out as a lighting designer, it can help the whole play. So if you can find a way to help emphasize mood and not just be about visibility and not just be about modeling, then you're really doing your job. So all of these objectives together make a very cohesive and effective lighting design. So these 4 objectives are what we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to do as lighting designers if we can. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything I might want to say about these. let's see. And if you guys want to read a little bit more about this, again, those two websites on the syllabus, they have a little bit more description about these. They might have some different wording of stuff, but they basically will go through these ideas a little bit more for you. All right, and then we are on to qualities of light. And I talked a little bit about the lighting designer being an artist. This is kind of like your tools or your brushes in your toolbox. One of the things we talked about with some of the photographs today was intensity, right? We talked about, hey, you can kind of tell what time of day it is in this photo because of how bright the light is, right? Or how soft the light is. So intensity is what we're talking about there. How bright is it? Now when we're doing lighting in here, in this space, you guys will see that you basically have a scale to bring a light up. 0% is off, 100% is fully on. So when we're doing our class projects, if you want something that's off, it's at 0%, on it's at full, or 100%. So we have a 100% scale to work from. So if you want something that's somewhere in the middle, then you're at 50%. If that seems too bright still, then you go down to like 25. And one of the things you'll be doing in the class project is seeing what those intensities feel like. Does it feel too bright for what you're trying to create? Pull it down a little bit. If it doesn't seem bright enough, you pull it up a little bit. So intensity is your tool to help you identify what time of day it is. So if you're recreating one of those photographs we looked at today, like maybe the one with the window and the drink, you'd probably be at almost full, right? You're trying to create something that's really bright and contrasting with some real shadow. So that's one of the things you guys will start taking a stab at when you do these projects, is using intensity and trying to guess what intensity theatrically will help you mimic what you're doing in your photograph or in your mind. Okay? Color. We talked a little bit about color and how it can emphasize different things. Like we were talking about composition and how you can have everything one color and then other colors will draw your attention somewhere. That kind of thing. So like in our City Walk photo, did you guys have anything in particular in that City Walk photo that drew your attention? The guitar. Kind of contrasted all the other color around it, didn't it? In a big way, like it was kind of a big statement. So it was kind of more intense and everything, but it was also the color, right? Because it was a nice warm, like reddish color, right? So the color helped draw our eye to that and become a focal point. So again, color can help with your idea of composition and mood. We talked a little bit about some of the colors of the sunsets and how those made us feel. Part of what you need to know is a little bit about the psychology of color as a lighting